Welcome to Picks and Parlays here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network, also coming to you live on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. I'm your host, Nick Geber, along with my good friend and my co-host, Ali Burns. Ali plus Money Honey Burns. You can find her on Twitter at that handle.
Well, hello. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. By the way, you can find me on Twitter at Nick Geber, Nickgeber. Andrew just put it up on the screen and put it up again so I can get that hate mail. You know I love it. Happy Tuesday, February the 18th, 2020. Ali, it is National Crab Stuffed Flounder Day.
Of all days.
Yes, it's also International Wine Drinking Day today.
Oh, it's like my day.
You can combine the two.
Curmudgeon Day was your day, but wine drinking is my day.
Yes, Curmudgeon Day, definitely my day. I miss Curmudgeon Day already.
I know, we should figure out another way to make that happen.
I know. Well, we have a big show today. We're going to start with Chip Chirimbes, one of our favorite handicappers. His Model T, I hear it out in the parking lot. He'll be joining us here shortly. We're going to talk some NHL hockey. I'm going to cover the Blue Jackets, Flyers, the Devils, Blues, the Kings, Jets. And what do you got, Ali?
I got the Maple Leafs and the Penguins, Carolina and Nashville.
Very good. And then Bookie Blaster Brown, Triple B, Tony Brown joining me here in the studio. We're going to talk a little pugilism. That's right. The sweet science, the boxing. We're going to talk Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury 2. This is going to be a great fight. And, of course, Triple B, a massive, massive boxing handicapper. He's going to tell you where the best bets will be. And then we'll top it all off with the Duff Man, Joe Duffy, joining us to talk a little college ball. What do you got?
Favorite.
What do you got to go with?
I'm going to go with Creighton and Marquette. Love that matchup. And Oklahoma State at West Virginia. What do you got?
I got the Fighting Illini against the Nittany Lions and Pittsburgh against the Seminoles of Florida.
All right. I have a future on the Seminoles of Florida. It's looking pretty good for me.
The future looks bright for you guys, doesn't it? Well,
Gotta
congratulations.
wear
Hope we're
shades.
invited to the wedding. Okay. Picksandparlays.net is where you will find us. You also find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So please, while you're at it, just hashtag Parlay Radio. We'll see it here in the studio, and Andrew will put it up on the screen, and we'll do our best to put you into the show. It can be rude. It can even be really rude. But if it's too rude, I won't read it on the air because the radio will be mad at me. All right. Nick Geber, Ali Burns, we're going to go. We'll be right back with more Chip Chirimbes right after this. And you are back on Picks and Parlays with me, your host, Nick Geber. Twitter me, twatter me, reach out and flatter me. Flattery gets you everywhere. Didn't you know that? Isn't that right, Ali Burns?
It absolutely is.
And you can find Ali on Twitter as well at Plus Money Honey. Maybe we can make her a lower third. So if you can't spell that one, there's probably need to go back to one of these schools we're talking about and complete your education instead of just playing basketball. I mean, come on. All right. Well, speaking of hockey, which we weren't speaking about at all, but let's get to it. Let's bring in our good friend, star handicapper, the man, the myth, the legend, the chicken dinner himself, Chip Chirimbes. Chipper, how are you today?
Hi, Chip.
How you doing, Ali? Good to see you. You look great.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Chip, for flattering me that way.
You make him jealous if you don't compliment
Nick,
him.
I'm sorry. I can't say the same for you, Nick. You know, we go further back than Ali.
You
But,
wanker.
you know,
all right.
I love you. You're number one in my heart. And I put on the
thank you.
skates for you. My ankles are breaking right now. I'm on so much ice in this NHL hockey.
All right, well, let's get to it, shall we, Chipper? Because we have quite a few games. This is our rapid fire segment, so let's fire away rapidly, shall we? Let's start with the Blue Jackets, excuse me, at the Flyers. Columbus are 30-30. They're on a 5-game stink-it-up losing streak right now. They're 12-16 on the road. They're 19-9 against the spread. They're still, though, only 6 points behind the leading Capitals in that what is that one? It's not the Metropolitan, is it? It is, right?
Well,
Anyway, whatever.
regardless.
The Flyers, 32-27. They're 6-3-1 in the last 10, coming off a 5-3 loss to Tampa. They're 19-9 straight up at home. They're 19-9 against the spread. Look, this is what we got. We got a -1.5 puck line for Philly that's paying +170 right now. But the money line on Philly is -140. They're obviously the favorites in total goals of 5.5. I know a lot of people avoid the total goals with hockey because it gets a little crazy sometimes. What are we doing on this one, Chipper?
this Columbus, like you said, have lost 5 in a row, Nick, and that was after an 18-2-3 run, which is tremendous. But what happens to these teams? There's so much ebb and flow. Once they get hot, and they've been hot for a month or 6 weeks, it's hard to sustain that. And then when they finally get beat, and it's sort of like their bubble's been burst, they head in the other direction, and it's hard to stop the slide. Philadelphia's 22-10 at home. This is on the money line, and 12-4 is a favorite when at home. I would take the Flyers over Columbus here, just because of the fact of how Columbus has turned it around, are going actually into this slide right now with the 0-5 streak. So I would fade them completely right now and stick with the Flyers.
Okay, Flyers on the money line. No puck lines, just money line, right?
No, not at all. No.
All right.
Okay, wait a minute. That was no money line or no puck line?
No, it would be on the money line.
Okay,
no puck
good.
line.
All right. I'll hand you over to Allie now.
Chip doesn't like puck lines. He's told us that.
You're right.
Okay, so we're going
Remember.
to stay in Pennsylvania. I'm going to talk Maple Leafs and the Penguins. Maple Leafs are 31-29. They've got 70 points. They're coming off a loss at Buffalo, 5-2. They give up 3 goals in the third period of that game. Not a good look. They're going to be facing the Penguins. They're 36-21, 78 points for them. They're coming off back-to-back wins at home. They beat the Red Wings 5-1 on Saturday, showing Pitt at -131. What do I do with this one?
Well, it's not a bad number to lay here, and I'll tell you why. Toronto is not only they've only won 3 of the last 11 games when they've been posting as an underdog, but they're in a very bad situation, Allie. This is the 3rd game in 4 nights. This has happened 13 times this year to the Maple Leafs. They're 2-11 in the 3rd game on the 4th night. So I would fade them just because of that. The number looks kind of shallow to me at in the 30s, like you said. But Pittsburgh, the Penguins are 20-7 as a home favorite on the money line. I would lay Pittsburgh here.
All right, lay Pittsburgh. Okay, Nick, what do you got?
I got the New Jersey Devils, the St. Louis Blues. The Devils 22-37. They're 5-5 in the last 10, coming off a 4-3 win over Columbus. They're 12-16 straight up and against the spread on the road. They're 0-10 though in the last 10 versus the Blues, and the Blues are 32-27. They're 2-8 in the last 10. Ouch! On a 5-game loser right now, smelling pretty bad there in St. Louis. 18-11 straight up, 12-17 against the spread at home. Still got a decent home record. They're only 1-4 straight up the last 5 at home though. It's continuing the stink fest there. Yet, they are -215 on the money line, and I won't even mention the puck line because Chicken Dinner doesn't like it.
Well, the money line's huge here, and with New Jersey only winning 2 of the last 17 times that they've played this team. But St. Louis, a year ago, December, they had the worst record in the NHL. They turned it around the whole second part of the last season and ran it into the Stanley Cup and has had a great start this year and playing great hockey. Maybe the worm has turned here. Maybe they're looking ready to fade a little bit. As I said, they've won 1 of the last 8 games outright, but they're 10-1 as favorites in this series. So it's tough for me to take New Jersey because I don't think they have a chance, and I certainly don't want to lay to St. Louis the way they've been playing. I mean, they can't get out of their own way, and they're 2-1 favorites here. I just couldn't make a play here in rationale. I think that no matter which side I'd come to, I'd end up being a loser.
All right, so Chip Chirimbes says Devils or Blues. Take a pass. What's next, Allie?
All right, I got Carolina and Nashville. Now, this home team has been beating up on the Blues. They just swept their series with those those defending champions. Predators are 29-29 with 65 points. They have won 3 in a row. Coming off the 2-1 win against the Blues I was talking about, they're going to be hosting Carolina Hurricanes. They're 33-25 with 70 points, coming off a 4-3 home loss to the Edmonton Oilers. That was an overtime loss. I'm showing the home team, Nashville, at -120. What do we think about that number?
Well, I think the number is very shallow, Allie. At 120 is virtually a pick'em situation. I am not all that impressed with Nashville at all. You can say Carolina's 2-6 in their last 8 straight up on the road, but they have won 6 of the last 7 meetings against this club. Nashville, as in the last 4 meetings, the underdog in the last 4 meetings is 4-0. But Nashville also in the same kind of position that Toronto's in, where we were speaking about playing their 3rd game in their 4th day, and they are 3-8 in that situation. So in the NHL, that looks like a trend right now that's pretty reliable. When you have these teams going out and playing 3 games in 4 days, that 4th night, that 3rd game, they really tend to struggle. So I would play against Nashville here and take a shot with the road team. take
All
the
right,
shot
that
with the
makes a lot of
Hurricanes.
sense.
And
A
you know
whole
what
lot
this-
of sense.
And you know what they say, Chip? Going to Carolina
What's
in
that?
the morning. Okay.
Yes.
Next up, the LA Kings at the Winnipeg Jets. The Kings 21-38. They're 3-7 in the last 10. But wait a minute, not all bad. There's a 2-game winning streak going on under the radar here. They're coming off a 3-1 road win at Colorado. They're 9-25 though, straight up. 19-15 against the spread when on the road. Not so good. The Jets 30-30. They're 5-5 in the last 10, coming off a win against the Blackhawks. They're 3-2. They're 15-17 straight up at home, by the way. They don't have the greatest home record. 14-18 against the spread. 5-11 straight up in the last 16 at home. So this is actually a fascinating matchup. And I'm looking at this Winnipeg minus 149 on the money line. I don't know, Chipper. What are we going on this one?
Well, you know, you can't take the LA Kings. They're absolutely horrid, and they've been horrid for a period of time. They've only won 16 of their last 65 games on the road. I mean, that's absolutely putrid. And like you said earlier, 9-23 on the season, 2-8 in their last 10 games outright. But Winnipeg is 10-4 against LA, and when they're at home, fine. But overall, you mentioned it, 5-11 at home overall. Maybe they can beat this team. The home team in the series is 19-9, so I would lay the home team in this situation, and it's virtually impossible to take the Kings on the road the way they play, and you know they're like the Cleveland Browns out there. You're just never going to get anything good out of them in the long run, and you're always better off fading them than taking them. So I would take Winnipeg at home. They've won a few times for us this year, and only at home though. I must say that I played against them on the road, but I would play them here over the Kings.
Boy, I tell you what, I was a LA Kings fan for many years, Chip Chirimbes, and
but they
was there
played
during the Gretzky
decent
era.
hockey in the past.
But there during the Gretzky era, you know, when Bruce McNull, the owner of the Kings, who was a guy I knew actually, went to jail though. Hi, Bruce. Don't pick up the soap in the shower. Okay, all right, we got to go to break. Chip Chirimbes. What, you have something
I
else?
was just going to say, speaking, because it's International Wine Day, today is that. Wayne Gretzky makes a fantastic wine. I don't know if you've tried it, but go out there and get you some Gretzky wine, because it ain't bad stuff.
If you drink the wine, you become an uncontrollable sports bettor. Okay.
I would have brought a bottle to the studio if I had known that was happening.
All right, we're going to go. We'll be right back. Triple B. Let's talk a little boxing after the break. Welcome back. Picks and Parlays. We're live on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network, and we are there Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. And we also stream live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for your edification and enjoyment. And if you missed any part of this show, never fear, because right after the show, you can get the podcast at our podcast network, which is the Believe, B-L-E-A-V podcast network. That's where you'll find us. Well, we covered a little hockey. We do a lot of college basketball, but we do have a massive fight coming up, and it's going to be between me and my next guest, Triple B, Bookie Blaster Brown. Are you ready to go?
Let's square off. Let's square off.
Let's do it, buddy.
I'm ready.
Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury 2 coming out. I am so excited about this fight. Let me tell you, the Anthony Joshua Ruiz fight was a fight that had me yelling and won.
Right.
Was a fight that had me literally, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was up off my seat. I was yelling. I was screaming. I was besides myself. The Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder 1 fight,
right?
I had that same effect. This man is proof, I'm talking about Tyson Fury, of life after death. He was dead. He was dead in the 12th round. He was out for the count. I don't know what happened.
Spoiler alert.
I don't know what. By the way, nice earrings. My sister has some just like that. I don't know what fairy dust his guardian angel sprinkled on him, but boom, he gets up and then puts back Wilder. We're going to relive that fight.
Man.
One of the best fights of the last decade, if you ask me.
Seriously. I mean, I'm a WWF fan from back in the day. This dude looked like The Undertaker when he rose up off of that fight. I thought the fight should have been waved off. I don't even think there should have been a count. The fact that he got up to even get that draw was amazing to me. So this part 2 is going to be, it's the rematch we all been waiting for. This takes me back to a time when the heavyweight division was full of stars. Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield. You know, you couldn't wait to see these guys get in there with the vicious knockouts. Right, the whole situation. And so, I mean, these guys take me back to that era. Deontay Wilder's 43 wins. He has 41 knockouts. No losses. The only draw came against Fury. He's knocked out 41 of his 43 opponents, like he said. Tyson Fury's the only dude who can survive that thing.
But look. Deontay Wilder is the hardest hitting,
heavyweight ever,
most technical, best feet. Maybe Muhammad Ali's feet actually were better. Okay, I mean we're comparing different ages now, but I mean Muhammad Ali didn't have anywhere near the power a guy like Deontay Wilder does. But everything about Wilder is the complete package. However, here's a however. You look at Tyson Fury, and here is a flawed man. Here is a man that the Gypsy King came up from the wrong part of the tracks, literally. Was named Tyson after Mike Tyson, which is probably should.
I mean,
tell
that's
you
a good name for a heavyweight boxer.
He doesn't look. He's not cut. He's not. Yet you watch this man. He has some sublime skills, and for a big man, this is where I see he might have an advantage. So 2 things could happen here, and I want to go through this with you. He's much taller than Deontay. Okay. He's ganglier than Deontay. He's faster than Deontay with his hand speed.
For sure.
Agree, right?
For sure. Agreed.
To get him, Deontay's going to really have to he's going to have to land those punches. Now, he landed that punch in the 12th round of the last fight, and let me tell you something. I don't think there's any fighter in the world that would have survived that punch other than Tyson Fury.
Well, I mean, like I said, the word survive, and you're giving Tyson Fury too much credit. He didn't survive it. He was knocked unconscious. If you watch the tape, he got like a 13 count. So, I mean, it's only supposed to go to 10. And that's if you count. Like, there's so many times the ref just waves it off when a guy's on his back sleep. You know what I mean? There's no way he should have got, I know, and so it seems like someone has a bias here. But at the end of the day, Deontay Wilder is the hardest hitting heavyweight. He's the best. He put Tyson Fury on his back twice. There's no way you can win a man's title from off of your back. The fact that he even got a draw is ridiculous to me. You were on your back twice in the heavyweight fight. You got a 13 count, and you should have been waved off. You never should have even got a count. Like, they wanted this to be a rematch. It was a money thing. Wilder already said he's going to knock him out this time, and he won't get up, and I believe it. Tyson Fury, though, is the better boxer. When you knock a man down, you get a 10-8 round. So the fact that Deontay Wilder got a draw and was up 4 rounds, that means he was down on the cards bad.
Right, but let me put it this way, okay? When you watch the Golovkin-Canelo fight, the last one, okay? Golovkin landed a bunch of shots on Canelo.
Right.
And it just had no effect on him.
Exactly.
Canelo was a brick wall.
Exactly.
Tyson Fury landed shots on Deontay Wilder, and they had a serious effect on him. He put Wilder down in the fight. He staggered him after he came back from that knockdown in the 12th round. This is not a situation where you've got one man who's got sublime boxing skills but doesn't have the power. Now, look, I happen to be with you on this one. I actually think Deontay's going to win this fight. I wouldn't be surprised if he knocks out Tyson Fury, but side of me would be surprised. I think he's going to win this on decision because I think Fury's too smart to let him connect.
No way, he can't. And see, that's the thing. He can't win the decision. The reason he got a draw last time is because of the 2 knockdowns. Otherwise, he would have lost that one on 4 rounds if it went to the decision. Tyson Fury is going to land more punches, but like you said, these are I'm glad you brought up the Canelo thing. A lot of people thought the Triple G fight was close because Triple G backed Canelo down. I think Canelo was fighting off of his back. I don't even think that fight was close. I think Canelo washed him out.
I agree with you, by the way.
The fact Deontay Wilder may struggle or whatever, he has 41 knockouts and 43 wins. He's not looking to outbrawl you. He's not looking to win on points. He's looking to knock out Tyson Fury. So he's gonna
Greatest
look for the
heavyweight
knockout.
since Mike Tyson?
For sure. And that's personal opinion and stat-wise. All those smart computer kids did the stats, his KO ratio versus opponents and all that. He's the greatest since Tyson.
I agree with you, by the way. I'm not going to disagree. I'm a big Deontay Wilder fan.
Huge.
The man is got, as I said, power, hand speed, foot speed, and he's got skills. He's a technician as well. Now, we talked about Tyson Fury. He's got incredible hand speed. He's got really ridiculous foot and leg speed for such a gangly tree.
This fight is going to be
It's going to be a
epic.
great one.
Yeah.
Let's so which way we're going to take? You're going to take Wilder with the knockout in which round?
I'm going to take Wilder and the over. You can bet over-under in boxing, and they have the over-under set at 10.5 rounds. Like you said, Tyson Fury knows he can't go down twice again. He doesn't want to feel those punches. And Deontay Wilder also knows he can't get beat up the whole fight and just hope for a knockout. So these guys are going to respect each other's power from the first fight, and I see Wilder knocking him out late, 11th, 12th round stoppage, because Fury's going to do something silly because Wilder's the more seasoned fighter here. Fury only has 29 fights.
Yeah, and of course, Tyson Fury, this is the great comeback. I didn't like his last fight that he had. I thought that was really, it was a nobody.
Tune-up fight.
It was a tune-up fight, I know. Look, Tyson Fury looks good. Mentally, this is a guy that's had serious, depression problems. He fought with depression. He ballooned up over 100 pounds he had to lose. Of course, they call it stone in England. But he's on the comeback trail. He's got something to prove. He wants those belts.
Yeah, I mean, we have to pick a winner here, so that's why I'm picking Wilder or whatever, but I'm not going to say it's going to be an easy win, and this is not going to be a great fight. Tyson Fury's going to give him everything that he can handle, but it's just not going to be enough. Like I said, I don't think the first one was a draw at all.
All right, let's talk best heavyweights out there right now. We've got Tyson Fury, we've got Deontay Wilder, and of course, Anthony Joshua. Now, look, I mean, AJ is a gorgeous specimen of a man, all right? He is cut. He's got a body like Adonis. He's got a face like a movie star. However, that chin he has, I think it's got a little glass in it.
I mean, a lot of glass. He went down to Klitschko. He did beat Klitschko, but Klitschko had put him on his back. He came from off his back and won that fight.
Andy Ruiz.
And then Andy Ruiz took all his belts, and I was so happy because he was ducking Fury and he was ducking Wilder. So he thought Ruiz would be a tune-up fight. He got all his belts.
He got his butt kicked.
Yeah.
And then, by the way, the return fight.
Right. He came back strong. Ruiz did okay, but
Ruiz
Joshua,
did okay too, by the way. Let's not forget.
Right. Joshua
won
he
the
just
fight.
got his belts back, but I don't think he's no match for either one of these two.
I agree.
I think the winner of this fight is going to win that fight and take all the belts and
there we go, unified heavyweight. All right, let's quickly talk about your man, my man, probably the man, I think, along with Deontay Wilder, pound for pound, best boxer in the world. Well, no, forget Deontay Wilder for a minute. Let's just say it. Pound for pound,
Canelo.
The best boxer in the world right now, Canelo Alvarez.
Period.
He is something else to behold. And you know what I love about Canelo is having watched his career from when he was a kid, coming up into the professional ranks outside of Mexico, doing his first fights outside of Mexico. He was slight, he was gangly, he had a different style. This kid is growing into the Hulk. I mean, he's squared up, his jaw's squared, he's hard as a rock. His punches have become so much harder, but most importantly, his boxing skills have moved along with it. He's a technician.
Right, because he's under the tutelage of Oscar De La Hoya. We got an Olympian, a world champion.
One of the most entertaining fighters in history.
Exactly. So with De La Hoya's tutelage, he's not taking on risky fights. He's just, he's perfect, and then he's just a naturally strong kid. He's beating everybody they put in front of him. Only loss was the Floyd Mayweather. Everyone
he
lost
was
to
very
Floyd.
young when he
That's what I'm
fought.
saying. Everyone
Very
lost
young
to
when he
Floyd.
fought
So you can't even really count that. And I mean, Canelo's the face of the sport right now.
Floyd is like one of those Rubik's cubes. In order to figure it out, you need a lot of time, and you need to look at it from 100 angles. Of course, the Rubik's cube doesn't punch you back.
Right.
And that's the problem. That's people. We talked about this in the break. I mean, Floyd Mayweather is, whether you think he's an objectionable person or not, okay, I do, but whatever. Whether you think that he's not an entertaining boxer, because he's not, okay?
This is Nick's opinion. I'm
this
with
is
the
my
money
opinion.
team all day. I like Floyd personally
well, I don't know
and
him.
professionally.
Well,
So
I don't know him, so I will say
I know him personally, so I'll be ashamed to come on the show and act different.
But I will say this: the man, the best boxer, one of the best boxers, technicians I've ever seen. If you've watched this man's fight, you will watch a man fight over a career and get hit so few times. His shoulder gets hit.
Right.
But brilliant. I mean, brilliant talent. And a guy like Canelo, as a kid, couldn't unlock him. But nobody could unlock him.
And yeah, and I'm the opposite. I do like Floyd personally. I met him a few times, been to a few of his events, but I don't like his boxing style. I'm from the old school. I watched Sugar Ray, Marvin Hagler, Hearns. I seen guys go in there and duke it out. All that shoulder rolling, it's not entertaining. But however, he's not here to entertain
Nope,
it.
he's there to win.
Technically, I'm here to win. He's never lost. He's one of the best. Like you said, he's the best technician in the game ever. So Floyd
Agreed.
is Floyd. That's a different animal. But Canelo's the face of the sport right now. Heavyweight, middleweight, period. He's the face of boxing.
All right,
right
Triple
now.
B, always a pleasure to talk boxing with you, my friend.
Before I go, can I give a shout out to my nephews, Braylon and little Mikey? Is happy 1st and 5th birthday, guys.
Happy 1st and 5th birthdays. Wow,
milestone
that's
birthdays.
6 if you put them together.
Put 'em together,
How about that?
6,
Yeah,
right.
6. Congratulations, guys. All right, enjoy the fight this weekend. We'll be right back with Plus Money Honey instead of this guy. Be right back.
Nice.
Welcome back. Picks and Parlays, Sports Byline Broadcast Network, also streaming live YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. I'm Nick Geber. By the way, I'm looking at myself on the monitor. It looks like I'm sweating profusely. I'm really not.
It does a little bit.
Yeah, I know. I'm really not. I'm
I
actually.
could powder you.
I need some powder.
I'm a
There's some
girl,
over there.
I got all that stuff,
We do have powder. I just didn't put any on today because I didn't. All right. Nick Geber with Ali Plus Money Honey Burns. We have done boxing, done the NHL. Love the boxing.
Quite the boxing talk you guys
Love
had
the boxing.
there.
I love boxing. The sweet science, one of the oldest sports on the planet.
I have a quick question for you,
Yeah.
Mr. Englishman. I
Yeah.
used to live in England. I always wondered, when they weigh you in stones, you
Yeah.
were just mentioning, is that because pounds are money?
No, it's because in the old day, that's how they would weigh you.
Was
You
it
have-
like
I have
one
s-
stone?
I have 16 stone here, and this is, 1 stone is X amount. So you would stand up on the scale, and they would offset you with stones, and that's why.
But
it's
aren't all stones like different?
No, they would get stones the same rough size. You're really
All right.
much too into this, but it's,
I was just wondering.
That's all right. It's all right. I'll bring
They
you a
call them
stone. Are you
crumpets
stoned?
because English muffins are really
Because it's England, and you don't call English muffins. You don't say American hamburgers, do you?
McDonald's.
All right,
does.
enough of this nonsense. All
Fair
right,
enough.
All right, enough with you. Let's bring in the Duff Man. The Duff Man cometh. Joe Duffy.
Duff Man.
Ah, left his brother Sean outside. Good stuff. Joe, let's do some college basketball. You ready?
I am ready. You're the greatest boxing expert since Joe Bugner to come from the UK, I think.
Oh, thank you very much. Eddie Hearn, my idol. Just kidding. Okay. Are you ready for some boxing, Duffy? I mean, some college basketball.
I am ready. It's the what is it? The plus money honey and the plus size Sonny.
Yeah, I love it. That's awesome. Thank you. Let's start, shall we? The Fighting Illini at Penn State The Illini are 16-9, 12-11-1 against the spread. They're 6-4 in the last 10. They're on a 4-game stink-it-up losing streak. Losses to Rutgers, Michigan State, that is, Maryland, and Iowa. They're 4-5 straight up, 5-4 against the spread on the road, 8-6 in conference. The total's gone under in 4 of the last 6 for the Illini, and the Nittany Lions are 20-5, 15-8-2 against the spread, 8-2 in the last 10. They're on an 8-game win streak, so kind of the opposite there. They're coming off a loss, though. Well, that can't be if they're in a win streak. That has to be a win over Northwestern, not a loss, I would imagine, right? You're nodding. That means yes. Okay, they are 13-1 straight up, 9-4-1 against the spread at home, 10-4 in conference. Look, this team is fantastic at home. Total's gone under in 5 of the last 7. They are 6.5-point favorites, total of 138. Do you like that, or do you think that's not enough points?
Well, the key here in the line varies. Ayo Dosunmu, who is the leading scorer for the Illini, he is questionable. He didn't play. It was a game-time decision against Rutgers, and he wound up not playing. So as we get closer to game time, obviously this line will move depending on that. This game kind of fits into my old regression to the mean angle that really overlaps in every single sport. Clearly, Penn State, the much hotter team. Illinois, they had that 7-game winning streak snapped, and then they've lost 4 straight. But teams like that tend to bounce back. It's a rare circumstance, but under those exact parameters, teams are 25-14-1 for 64.1% to bounce back from a losing streak after a big winning streak. That, of course, would benefit the Illini. And road teams that have dropped at least 4 straight versus an opponent that's won at least 7 straight. Of course, what's the public going to say? I'm going to go with the much hotter team. Why would I not bet on Penn State? They're so much hotter. But wrong. The computer says going with the much colder team on the road under these circumstances, 69-43. I do think, though, the key, in addition to the injury that we talked about, Kofi Coburn for Illinois matches up pretty well. He's got some size for the Illini. That's Penn State. One of their weaknesses, they don't really have a lot of size underneath. So Coburn is only averaging 8.3 points over his last 4 games, 13.6 overall. He is a freshman. Is he wearing down? I don't know. I like these young teams to peak late. And if Dosunmu is healthy, Illinois will have 2 good, very young players where I think they can peak late. At the very least, I do expect them to keep it close because, like I said, it fits into that nice regression of the mean of actually going with the colder road team.
All right, and if you went to Illinois, are you an Illini alumni?
No, am I? Oh, okay, I got you. Never mind. Yeah, a little slow on the draw.
All right.
Yes, you would be.
All right, and let's go back to some more college hoops. What you got, Allie?
All right, well, I've got Oklahoma State, West Virginia. Oklahoma State is 13-12. I liked them a lot at the beginning of the season. They got a little rocky, but now they're looking for 3 in a row. They just came off a win against Texas Tech in Morgantown, 73-70. They're at the bottom of the Big 12, but they're working on it. They're 4-5 on the road, 3-9 in conference. They're improving. They're going to play number 17 West Virginia. It's another team I've looked at a lot this year. They're great at home, but they're coming off 3 losses in a row. They were to all the big guys, Baylor, Kansas, and Oklahoma. Lost to Baylor 70-59. They're 12-1 at home and 6-6 in conference, though. I'm showing West Virginia minus 10.5 at 135 is the total. Where do we go? I kind of feel like it's the same as what you were saying. Play the colder team, even though they look that business.
What do you think? That's the statistics he threw out. Yeah, the
That's what I hear
statistics.
when you talk, Duff. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but as you said, West Virginia, they've had a tough run against some very tough opponents, so they're not necessarily sizzling. But you did sort of allude to it, where OSU, they came out of the gates pretty quickly. They're really driven by their seniors. 59% of their scoring comes from their seniors, and that's usually what happens. That experience helps you at the beginning of the year, but there's a point of diminishing return. My problem in this game, and even though it's a fairly low total, where are the points going to come from? West Virginia, typical of them, very good defensive team. They're not sensational offensively. They're allowing, though, only 61.8 points per game, which does rank at 19th among all Division I teams, while Oklahoma State's offense only averaging 261st. So I don't know where Oklahoma State's going to get those points for, but again, West Virginia, they've not been able to total more than 60 points in their current streak. Now they're playing top tier teams, but their shot selection hasn't been very good. They're really hitting only 42% from the field, hitting only 30% from downtown. And my three independent projections, all this game sneaking under, some of them by a little bit more, but 73-61, 74-58, 72-60, all, of course, West Virginia winning, but right around the number. But I do think that even though it's, moderately low total, I still think these points are going to be very tough to come by. So a lot of things point towards the under in a very low scoring game here.
All right, take the under in West Virginia and Oklahoma State. Okay, Nick, what do you got?
All right, let's do some more college basketball. Let's get to it, shall we? The Pittsburgh Panthers at the Florida State Seminoles. The Panthers 15-11, 12-14 against the spread. They're 4-6 in the last 10. They're on a two-game losing streak, most recently losing 57-67 to Virginia Tech. They're 2-6 straight up, 3-5 against the spread on the road. 6-9 in conference. They're 5-0 in the last 5, though, against Florida State. That is an interesting stat to go with the somewhat weak last 10 game that they're on. Florida State Seminoles 21-4, 12-13 against the spread. They're 8-2 in the last 10. They're hot, coming off an 80-77 win over Syracuse. They're 13-0 straight up, 5-4 against the spread at home, 11-3 in conference. They've gone over in 6 of the last 8, and they are huge favorites here, 11.5-point favorites, total of 135.5. But you see, I look at this 5-0 against the spread in the last 5 versus Florida. Is it worth going with Florida here?
Yeah, this is a case where, look, Florida State, they're piping hot. They won 21 out of 24. And I tried to find, an advantage. Normally you would think that you would go with Pittsburgh there. Hadn't really found much either way. Teams that have won 21 out of 24, or at least 20 out of the last 25, stuff like that, aren't necessarily big go with or go against. But underdogs of 12 or more with at least 15 wins and at least 3 games above 500, pretty solid. 263, 222, and 11. That's 54.2%, and that includes 56.5% on the road. The 3 computer programs that I do like to use for score projections, all of this game sneaking under the total, 72-60, 72-59, 73-61, obviously all with Florida State winning, but they all lean pretty strongly towards the under. I think you can make, originally when I sent in the plays for the graphics, I did say the under, and that'll be my official play, but, especially as I got a couple more notes between then and by the time this airs, I can see making a pretty strong argument for Pittsburgh to stay within that number as well.
All right, you got it. There you have it. All right, Allie, what's next on the list?
Okay, I'm asking for another free pick. This one is a big matchup in the Big East. We've got number 15 Creighton going to visit number 19 Marquette. Creighton is 20-6. They've won their last 3 games. They handled DePaul, and I really like DePaul. It was hard to watch, 93-64. Tyshawn Alexander is a beast, 24 points, 8 assists. They're number 2 in the Big East, 9-4 in conference. Marquette has been one of those teams that I keep my eye on, though. I just don't like to play against them. Maryland's one of those teams, too. Marquette 17-7. They're coming off a 1-point loss at Villanova. They've got their own superstar in Marcus Howard. He averages 27 points a game. I really like that kid, too. They're number 4 in the Big East, 7-5 in conference, 12-1 at home. I'm showing Marquette -2.5. I know that number moved a little bit, and the total at 154.5. So tell me, Duff, who is bigger in the Big East?
Yeah, you're right, Al. I do see at least last time I checked, Marquette had been up to 3.5, but not all the sports books were necessarily posted, as we do record this. Their seniors, Marquette, account for 73% of the team's scoring, 78% over the last 5 games. But again, my general rule of thumb, senior-laden teams I do think can start to become a little bit overvalued as the year goes on. Now, that being said, that college basketball is one of the few sports where I do put a little bit more stock on how a team does as the splits, how a road team does on the road and the home teams at home. Marquette has won their last 4 home games by a pretty impressive 79.8 to 65.5 margin. Still, I think Creighton matches up pretty well. They're very good at protecting the ball. Marquette not good at forcing turnovers. Creighton has won 7 of 8, including beating number 8 Villanova and number 10 Seton Hall. Again, the computer projections have this line just about right, but especially if you can get 3.5 All three of them have Creighton sneaking to within the number. So I do think, yeah, that Creighton has shown that they can be quality teams on the road. And with Marquette, it's kind of my counterintuitiveness because they are led by seniors. I do think, like I said, when you get in mid to late March, those teams can become a little bit undervalued. Look, this will be a great game to watch. I think it will go down to the wire. And if I think it'll go down to the wire, then the 3.5 points looms large. But like you said, that extra half a point or point, make sure you do shop around and get the best line possible as well. That's the truth on every game, but I think especially on this game, which could really go down to the wire, I will take the points and go with Creighton.
All right, take the points and go with Creighton. We have a saying in our house, and it's, hey, half points matter. All right.
Oh, yes, without question. I've talked about that. One of the things that squares will say is, hey, if you like a game at 3, but you don't like it, laying 4 or vice versa, then I don't want your picks. I'm like, no, getting the best line is of enormous importance. And I do think that really about 60, 70% of the gamblers don't realize how important that is. But I always preach, not only shop for the best line, but also the juice. Don't overlook the juice that you're going to be playing as well.
Yeah, that's huge. All right, Nick, what else do you got?
No, that's it. That's it. That wraps up our college basketball
here.
segment. Joe Duffy, that's very interesting. So shop around, get the best line, get the lowest juice. I don't know. Sounds like a diet, but
well,
okay.
Go ahead.
I just want to back up for a minute. You watched the boxing segment. Do you like this Fury-Wilder 2 fight?
Yeah, well, the interesting, I used to be a humongous boxing fan back in the day. Once they started going into all these divisions, and then there's WBF,
Duffy,
WBA.
I'm being told
Yes.
I got to go. We'll
All
pick it up next time. Be right back after this to wrap
Right.
it all up. Picks and
Jeff.
Parlays.
Yes, sir. All right, kids.
Welcome back, Picks and Parlays. Sports Byline Broadcast Network, where we're with you every day, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific, right here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. Also live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Nick Geber, Ali, Plus Money, Honey Burns. I want to apologize to Joe Duffy, cutting him off there. My bad. Clock management. I can't add up. I don't know what my problem is. But, Ali, we gave out a lot of picks. Should we recap them?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's start. All right, we started off with Chip Chirimbes.
NHL picks. Let's do Blue Jackets and Flyers. He says take the Flyers minus 145. Leafs and Penguins. Penguins minus 135 is your play. Take the Blues against the Devils. Take the Hurricanes against the Predators. Kings at Jets. Get on Winnipeg minus 155.
All right, then we spoke a little boxing. And I don't know if we have that panel up or not. But we did talk boxing. We don't have it. But I will tell you what Triple B said. He said Deontay Wilder will win. Take the over. It's 8.5 rounds. Then we moved on to, see, I have good memory, right?
You do.
10.5 rounds.
For being such
Pardon
an
me.
old
Take the
man,
over.
you
It was
really
10.5 rounds. Take the over. All right. Joe Duffy's college basketball picks. Illinois at Penn State. Take the Illini +7. Oklahoma State against West Virginia. Take the under 135. Pittsburgh at Florida State. Take the under 135.5. And Creighton at Marquette. Take Creighton +3.5. Those were our picks. Hope you had a chance to write them down. If you didn't, don't worry. You can find the podcast for this show up immediately on conclusion at the Believe Podcast Network. Also, Ali, obviously, you can see it again on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.
Yep, that's how I do it.
All right, you ready to go again tomorrow?
I'm ready. I'll be back.
We'll be back with you tomorrow, same time, same place, same channel. Be there. Bet big, bet smart, and always bet, win, repeat.